BS-Free Witchcraft is a production of the Nerd and Tie Podcast Network. Nerd and Tie produces podcasts ranging from actual play to true crime, and you can find more at nerdandtie.com or join our Discord by going to nerdandtie.com/Discord. Welcome to BS-Free Witchcraft, your monthly guide to the modern witchcraft movement. Mine's a lot of the usual, bullshit. I'm your host, Trey Dorn, and today I am not standing in my studio. I am outside by a lake in the world. There's a really loud goose back there that I don't know if the microphone's picking up. If you're listening to the audio version, don't worry. You're not really going to miss anything other than seeing my smiling face like normal. I'm just trying to get a variety in the scenery this time around. It is September of 2025. That means we've been doing this show for 7 years. This show launched in September of 2018. 2018 was a long time ago. Do you guys know that, my beard wasn't this... I had, no gray in my beard in, 2018. Look at this. Oh, my, it looks so bad in natural light. Oh, my God. All of this gray, I swear there's dark hair in here somewhere still. Speaking of changes, I just turned 45 earlier this month. It's like my skin's not aging, but every follicle has lost every fucking shade of pigment. I'm gonna fight those geese. I'm gonna fight that goose. I'm gonna fight that goose so hard. The world that I created this show into and the world we live in now are incredibly different. There's some stuff that's the same, some stuff that's unfortunately the same again, but the witchcraft environment that I invented this show, the reason I created this show, is so different that I just really wanted to talk about these changes this month, the world that has shifted. The fact that, this show was just me in a room, and while it is still mostly just me in a room, it is sometimes just me out here. There's a video version. The show is a very different beast and animal than what it was when I started. But again, witchcraft is a different beast than when I started. The environment in which I created BS-Free Witchcraft was one where Tumblr was still one of the primary online spaces where witchcraft discourse was happening amongst younger people. Older people were still on Facebook, and a lot of them still are, but things like witch talk would not come around for a couple of years. There are fads that didn't exist. No one was talking about shadow work when I created this show. That wasn't a conversation we were having. The whole last episode, I would have never thought about doing when we started. When I started out this show, I had a list of topics. I had a list of things I wanted to talk about. That, I absolutely wanted to cover. And we've done probably about 3/4 of those topics. Mostly I just wanted to make sure that the show is sustainable, because I had this really strong impulse to make a witchcraft podcast, and honestly, I wasn't sure that I could keep doing it beyond a handful of episodes, so I just wanted to make sure that I had a list of topics that I wanted to cover and handle, and some of them I keep putting off. Some of them I keep putting off just because they're a lot of work. They're just complicated topics to cover, and if I do them wrong, I'm a little cautious about that. So, I still plan on covering those down the road, but that's why I'm kicking them down the can. But other ones have become far less relevant. Originally, I was going to have an episode about how Wiccans need to stop dominating the online conversation. Which, while there are still pockets and enclaves of culture, what you'll find today is quite the opposite, where there's a lot of anti-Wiccan backlash. There's a lot of anti-Wiccan backlash from people who are doing a lot of things derived from Wicca at the same time. That's going to be its own episode. But the entire explosion of witchcraft during the 2020, the first year of the pandemic. I say the first year because It's not over yet. Go get your boosters if you can. If you can't, oh my God, fight like heck to get them. I lie. Just say you have conditions. I don't care. I'm not in charge of you. This is not medical advice or legal advice. We live in a world where I have to say that now. So the first year of the pandemic, like, we saw this huge explosion in witchcraft and witchcraft spaces that we didn't necessarily have before. And along with it came changes in attitude as new witches filter in, changes in what's trendy and what's not trendy. But this has been going on the whole time. Like, we saw other major shifts historically in the witchcraft movement, say the move from Wicca going from primarily, British traditional Wicca in the 60s and 70s to the influx of solitary practitioners in the 90s, and eclectic Wicca becoming the dominant form of the religion in the 90s, although there's like a whole bunch of people. Different episode topic, Trey. We see trend. I will fight you. I'll fight a goose. I'll fight a goose. Like, the witchcraft spaces that we exist in are just so different now. The pandemic changed a lot of things. Like, we had seen a move to online spaces in the 2000s and 2010s with the places like Witchvox, things like Witchblur on Tumblr, but the in real life spaces still kind of held like that was where the street cred was. But the rise of social media influencers in witchcraft over the past 10 years has really evolved, and what's really interesting to me is the nichification of these social media spaces. Witchcraft space has grown so much that while there are some people, like you take your Thorn Moonies, like people who are published authors through places like Llewellyn, who have built a following, who are maybe fairly well known, but the nichification of the rise of the witchcraft influencers means that there are people with large audiences that would have been dominant, huge names if they had had an audience that size in the 90s. We are talking about people with a reach further than Silver Ravenwolf ever had, right? But because the landscape has gotten so much larger, there are also huge percentages of the witchcraft space that have never heard of these people. There are witchcraft influencers, I am sure of, that you have never heard of, who have been fundamentally influential in the witchcraft space, whose name you have never, ever seen, read, or heard. And that's kind of amazing. This show has thousands of listeners. The show has thousands of listeners. I see the demographics. I know what's happening, but I'm still relatively obscure. If this show had existed 20 years ago with the audience that it had, I'd be the biggest fucking deal in witchcraft. Instead of the weird corner that I exist in. And while there are published authors and I'm on press lists now. All right, this is just an aside about the show. All right, so I get contacted from different publishers. And I am fairly certain that most of them have no idea what my content is like. The only people who I think know what my content is like are the people who have contacted me from Llewellyn. People who contact me from all these other presses that I'm not going to name, I know they've never listened to the show. It's when I got contacted by someone from Llewellyn, the publishers from Llewellyn specifically said I know exactly, because I did that review. I did that review of the Anwen Avalon review, who is not a Llewellyn author, but, is an author with a different press. And I did that review because those people clearly didn't listen to my show. And I was like, I'm going to make an example out of someone because they sent me the worst book I've ever read. Actually, it wasn't the worst book I ever read. It was just bad. But it was a wonderful example of books that I hate. And so I did a whole review of that book, right? I sat down, I dedicated a whole episode to her. I did not agree to interview her for a reason, because I hated it. But like, so when Llewellyn contacts me, they contact me about someone who fits in the corner that I fit into, because they did their research. And that is why Llewellyn is Llewellyn. And the other publishers aren't in the witchcraft spaces. Like, I don't like everything Llewellyn publishes, and those people are smart enough not to send me that stuff. If you ever see a Llewellyn author on this show, it's because they're a person I like. When I reviewed Thorn Mooney's Witches Among Us, when I reviewed that, I bought my own copy. I didn't ask them for a review copy. I actually am. Part of the thing I'm trying to do with the show right now is not ask for review copies. I'm trying to make sure I pay for any book I review, because, like, I got sent a review copy of something I never ended up reviewing, and you'll never hear because it wasn't bad. I think I've mentioned it on the show before. I got sent a book, and it wasn't, like, wrong. Like, it wasn't incorrect. So, I didn't want to give it, I didn't want to tear it apart because I didn't like it, but I also didn't think it was harmful or bad or wrong. You know what I mean? It just wasn't for me. And so I thought, like, I would be the worst person to review this book because everything's subjective and there are people who this book could help, but I hated it. And so that's why, like, I'm doing my best to not let people send me review copies for the show, because I figure if I'm going to be mad and tear apart a book, I should at least give the author some money. They shouldn't be, like, shipping me a free book for the privilege of me making fun of them. That seems like it's in poor taste. Like, that's just a personal ethical thing with me, that, like, I feel like that would be bad. But anyways, to go back to what I was saying, is that the community has started to spread out so much, but also, like, we've seen this shift in the important influencers, the kind of influencers we have. Like 10 years ago, if someone was a witchcraft influencer online, we'd be looking at text, maybe pictures, we'd be looking at that kind of content, stuff that went in deeper. We'd be looking at blogs. You know, it's when we talk about people who would write stuff on, God, I miss Witchvox. That's like 15 years ago, 20 to 25 years ago is like the height of Witchvox. But it was all text stuff online. What we've seen is this, as social media has pivoted to video, so has witchcraft influencer content. And that has actually brought out some really big problems. Like, shows like this, I am trying really hard to go in depth and stay away from beginner content. That's why I'm doing longer form content. Like, I have made beginner content on this show and on my social media. Like, on my TikTok, there is beginner content, but I try to actually avoid that because my goal is to have the deeper, more interesting discussions in my space. And, like, I went into podcasting and long form because, honestly, I run a podcast network. I'm too tired to write all this stuff down. And I say this as a novelist. We've seen this pivot to video, but that also means that because the video that has become dominant in these social media spaces is largely short form, what we get is a lot of beginner content, a lot of shallow hot takes, outrage content farms the day. And while outrage has always been an issue in witchcraft spaces, the fact that there is now a whole generation of, you know, popular witches who produce effectively outrage content. I'm not saying everyone. There are plenty of really good, like, online content creators who do short form video. Like, I follow quite a few. But because the short form video content rewards this, I feel like the hot take arguments that used to be kind of, like, stuck into, like, these more backroom or these arguments now become audience participation events. I'm not saying it's worse than it was, because I don't think it is. I think witches are a bunch of we're a bunch of catty jerks a lot of the time, but it has changed the venue and it has changed the way it looks. And if anything, it is an interesting evolution as our community has grown larger, that it has also grown largely hostile. Often hostile to people doing the exact same things that they're doing, only because they're doing it under a different name or association. Like, we are getting into the weirdest niches. And I think this is a growing pain that I don't want to blame social media entirely for this. I think that it amplifies it when it happens, the way it does anything in our society right now. But, like, what we're seeing in this nichification and almost, like, not siloing. I don't want to, there's certain words I don't want to use to describe this that would be kind of easy, but, people are picking teams, and it's getting weird. And I think this is a problem that happens to any subculture as it expands beyond its roots. And let me be clear, we are still a really weird niche subculture. Your favorite witchcraft author has a day job. I guarantee it. The biggest witchcraft media influencers, we have yet to reach the point where the biggest names are doing witchcraft stuff full time, because we do not have, even in this world where, we are growing so fast, we are expanding as a community, only the people working in commerce are really the ones who have full-time jobs doing this. The biggest witches you know, the most influential witches you know, have day jobs. And that's actually the thing I hope that changes next, because I think it's going to be really interesting, right? When will we reach the point where it becomes sustainable for, I'm sure that maybe someone out there is making their only living off of witchcraft content. I mean, obviously there are people where that's their primary income, who don't make a lot of money. But where this becomes a sustainable thing, I don't know when we're going to reach that point. We haven't reached it yet. I have a 9 to 5. Well, it's an 8 to 4:30, but I work an office job. So the world is changing. This show is not the show I thought I was going to be making 7 years ago. The world has changed. We have seen a rise in the satanic panic returning, effectively. We have seen the rise of Christian nationalism. We have seen the world shift around us. We have covered topics I never thought I was going to cover, and had to skip topics because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the controversy. Also, frankly, I've avoided some topics because there are other people who've talked about them better, which is why I may come back to them and talk about them myself now that years have passed. And obviously, not every change has been good, right? We've talked about the growth, but there's also, we've seen a real big highlight on something that's been an underlying current the entire time we've been here, and that is the rise of the, New Age to alt-right pipeline. And one of the things that the New Age to alt-right pipeline has really, really highlighted is the existing fascism within witchcraft and neo-pagan spaces that has always been there and always been a problem. But for so long, so many of people have just stuck their head in the sands and ignored it, that now it's downright impossible. The truth is, I don't trust most. If someone tells me they're a Norse pagan, I don't trust them until I find out 10 more sentences. And I make sure that 14 words aren't in any of them. Because while most people who listen to this show might find it weird to find out that there are fascists in our community and, Nazis. There are Nazis. There are Nazis. This is on my platform. I can say whatever I want. There are Nazis. If no one watches the YouTube version, that's fine. There are Nazis in our community, and there have been for quite some time, and as the group has grown, as the community has grown, so have those elements. And too many people still want to ignore them. Too many people sit in a place of privilege where they're easy to ignore. And while I have tried to highlight them on this show, and I have tried to talk about it on this show, when I do, I get pushback. I get hate mail. I get stuff. I get people making excuses for people. Like, don't make excuses for Stephen Flowers. Just don't fucking do it. Don't. Not every change has been good. And it has highlighted some things that need to change within our community. So it's just the difference between the world now and the world then of when we started makes me really glad we started in the fall. I think I tend to get introspective around this time of the year, not just because of the show. I mean, the show, honestly, you guys, I love doing the show, but it is not the important life thing for me. But my birthday's in September. I'm a triple Virgo. So I'm recording this right before my birthday, but this is going to come out weeks afterwards. And which is why it's so green right now, even though I'm talking about fall a lot. Like, one of the reasons I'm really glad that we launched this show in autumn is because it is a time of change. It is a time of seasons altering, shifting. The world goes from summer to winter. It is a transitional age. And unlike spring is about growth, autumn is about the transition to death, really, as life goes dormant over the winter here in at least this part of the Northern Hemisphere where I live. I mean, we're witches. We love autumn. It's witchcraft, if anything, is change. And we are a part of it. So by thematically connecting the show to autumn, we are connecting the show to transition, change, and everything that comes with that. It's always a time I take stock and reconsider things. I'm 45 years old. I'm doing a witchcraft podcast, standing in a public park, getting nervous whenever people go by me. And this is a thing that I do need to tell you guys. That eventually, in the long run, not anytime soon, but in the long run, this show is going to end. Tentatively, the last episode of BS Free Witchcraft is going to come in September of 2028. As a rule, as a general rule in my life, as a person who has put a lot of energy into a lot of different creative projects, one of my primary things that I do is that I don't let a project run longer than 10 years. I don't. We are 7 years into this show. There are 3 years left. Because I need time for growth and change, and also I'm tired. Like, if you know me from other stuff, you know that I used to do a webcomic called Unconventional. That ran for 10 years. I'm currently doing a comic called Peregrine Lake. I don't think that one's going to go for 10 years. I think it's going to end before that, but only because that story has, like, a really specific ending. Like, there's a whole arc plotted out, and it'll take as long as it takes to get through it, but that has an ending that will probably hit before 10 years. But if it does ever get to, like, 10 years, it's going to end then. When I make a creative project that's recurring and ongoing, 10 years is my limit. And when I was younger, that seemed like a long time. That seemed like a huge amount of time in my life. And now, as I am turning 45, as the gray in my beard is eclipsed the dark hair, and, you know, it's like I have dark hair like here, I swear, it's just the gray's all on my temples here, so it looks like, with my hat on, I look so much, in this lighting, I look so much older. That, like, I was like, no, I look 45, shit. Like, I shoot indoors, my beard looks like significantly darker, but, like, yeah, no, I look 45. That just crept up on me at some point. But, like, 10 years, like, it's significant still. But when you've had friendships that have existed for 30 years, it's hard to, yeah, so think, 3 years, 12 episodes a year, 36 episodes left of the show. 36 episodes left of the show. And you got to think that 3 of those episodes are going to be Q&A episodes. So it's really 33 episodes on topics. So if there's something you want to talk about, you should tell me, because I got to make sure I fit it in here at some point. I'm definitely going to, but yeah, it's, when this show hits 10 years old, I'm going to close it down. Like, I'm going to bring it to an end. The archive will stay up, but this show has 10 years in it. And we're 7 in. And I don't know if that's a thing people knew that I was planning to do from the beginning, but that's been a thing I've been planning to do since the show launched in 2018. When Witchblur was still a big thing. I mean, that's the thing, is it's like, anything we do in the Witchcraft community, where we talk about the community, the culture, and all this stuff, and current ongoing issues, becomes a time capsule in the long run. There are people who binge listen to episodes, and they listen to episodes from 2018, 2019, where I'm talking about a world that is so different from the one we're currently in. And that was, those early episodes are me talking to a handful of listeners, because like those early episodes are me talking to a small group of friends who I thought would tune in when this started. And now it's ballooned and exploded. I think I only had like 600 Tumblr followers when I launched this show. Like, I was so much a nobody in this community. Like, it is remarkable that I have gone from being someone who was, I believe, to be wholly unremarkable in the Witchcraft community, and had even kind of like exited from like a lot of the communal spaces for like a period of like 8 years. God, maybe longer. Like, I had like completely exited for a while and then dipped my toe back in, but I was still just like a relative no one. And to now, 7 years later, you know, I have thousands of followers on Tumblr. Still nowhere, like, not a huge amount, but I have tens of thousands of followers on TikTok. This show gets thousands and thousands of listeners every episode. And like, I cannot tell you, like, the number of people who have listened to those first handful of episodes, where I thought I was talking to like maybe 20 people, are like, is larger than the population of the town I live in. And most people don't know who I am. So, like, just the changes in my life and the changes to this world are so remarkable if I think about it for even more than 5 minutes. Like, the idea that I'd be doing any of this stuff still in 2025. Like, I was nervous that I wouldn't have a full year of shows when I started. We all live and move through this world in ways we don't always anticipate. We don't remain who we are, and Witchcraft in our community has not remained what it was. It's going to be something new today than yesterday, and it's going to be something new tomorrow than it was today. This is the inevitability about life. Whether or not we are a passing blip in the cultural landscape, or whether or not we are finally going to actually reach a true mainstream, I don't know. But it's definitely different than when I started. It's definitely different. I want to thank you guys for joining me this month. Next month, I hope to have something special for you. We're going to talk about Wicca next month. We're going to talk about the weird stuff around Wicca and the current online community. So join me. It's going to be an interesting episode, and I'm going to let Trey back in the studio, future me, past for you still, because this is pre-recorded, so all of it is past. I'm going to let them take over and read the outro.
Thank you guys for tuning in to yet another month of BS Free Witchcraft. I especially want to thank my Patreon patrons who make episodes like this possible, in the sense that you guys pay the hosting bill for the show. And I want to especially thank people at the $10 shout-out level of Lindsay Dosey, Bruce Norville, Courtney, Claire Dennis, Pamela Stariak, and Eldrick Gamble. Remember, for just $1 a month, you get episodes like this a whole week early, and along with some exclusive content that I promise isn't too weird. I've done a couple episodes of my watch along with the Pagan Invasion. I plan on doing more. It's just the summer was a little bit crazy this year, but I'm going to get back to doing those. And there are the episodes that are up, and I may post an outtake from this one. Probably just the one outtake. I don't know. Y'all will find out exactly how weird I am when I'm alone in a park with a camera technically set up inside my truck. Anyways, yeah, so consider contributing to the Patreon. If you don't have any money, I understand. I am also broke. But you can still support the show just by following the show on social media. You can find me on Blue Sky at traegorn.bsky.social. You can find me on Tumblr at traegorn. You can find me on TikTok at traegorn. Or you can follow the show on Facebook at facebook.com/bsfreewitchcraft. Don't try to find my personal Facebook page. It's not hard to find it, but that's where I talk to my mom. Also, some fun news. I have a new novel coming out in December. Buried Memories, the 4th book in the Mia Graves saga. It comes out December 15th. And that is up for pre-order right now on Kindle and paperback. And I will put the ISBN in the description. So if you want to pre-order the paperback through any retailer, you can. If you want to pre-order it through Amazon, there will be a direct link there. And if you want to pre-order the ebook through Amazon, it'll be right there. The book will also, when it comes out, be available in my Patreon shop as an EPUB without any DRM, and it will be available in the Kobo store also. I can't do pre-orders for my own shop. So that's just the reality of life. But yeah, it's not witchcraft. It is fiction. It's contemporary fantasy. It's fun. It is the 4th book in the series, and the first 3 books are also available. So, if you want to pick them up, pick them up. If you don't want to pick them up, don't. I mean, it's a different thing. You're here for witchcraft, not for me telling stories and stuff. So, yeah. Anyways, remember, Nerd Tie Network is a thing we are a part of. That was a weird way to construct that sentence, but I'm going with it. It's been a weird time lately. Anyways, the Nerd Tie Podcast Network has a lot of other great shows like Casual Trek. If you're into Star Trek, you can tune in every fortnight for the most British non-Star Trek fans you've ever met, reviewing every episode of Star Trek and ranking them. They like Star Trek, they're just primarily not Star Trek fans. So Charlie and Miles are rating every episode of the show in no particular order, which makes it absolute chaos. And I mean, when I say the show, I mean every series, from Star Trek, the original series, all the way through Strange New Worlds and whatever comes out next. So that is a fun thing. You can find that and a bunch of other shows at nerdandtie.com. Yeah, that's where we are. That's where we've been. I am exhausted. So with that, Magicians, I'm going to leave you with my standard closing. Remember, dirt in our fingernails, brick in our hands. And I'll talk to you next month with something fun.